So the Oklahoma City Thunder legitimately just had a really impressive playoff run. Again, we got to remember, even though a lot of people are saying that this team should have probably gotten to the, the Western Conference Finals, I think we got to remember that this team is like one of the youngest teams in the whole entire league, and it's going to take a couple years, I still think, to add maybe another piece or two to potentially become a finals team. But it really, as we've seen by this year, it's probably not going to take as long as what some people were maybe thinking a couple years ago. We got SGA being a top 3 in MVP. Again, Chet looking like one of the best centers in the whole entire league, amongst a ton of other great things going on with OKC. Of course, at the time of making this video, they have the 12th overall pick. It will be really interesting to see if they do stay with this pick, because I think if they really wanted to, if they see a player that is available at like pick 3 or something, or pick 4, that they're like, hold on, we actually really want this guy, don't be surprised if they try and trade up for him, especially considering this draft has been noted to be one of the weakest in history. Again, some people comparing it to the 2013 draft. Don't be surprised if teams are much more easily willing to trade back, and all you got to give up is a couple first-round picks to do it. And again, this is the only draft you can say that you can probably move up from pick 12 to pick 4 by just adding some future first-round picks that are going to be like in the early 20s, late teens, right? Which is absolutely crazy to think, but that's just what, if OKC wanted to, they could probably do with this. But I actually think there's a player here who works well at OKC, who makes sense to put alongside, this team. So again, I will be, using this pick at 12. I also would like to say, if you're wondering why I didn't take a certain player with this pick that you guys might have liked, it might just be because I've taken him with a different pick to another team. So I highly recommend you guys go and check out my official 2024 NBA mock draft, which will be linked in the description down below. That way you guys are all up to date. But I guess without further ado, let's just get straight into it with who I think OKC should select with the 12th overall pick. Now, with the 12th overall pick, we have Oklahoma, who of course have one of the best young teams. I took this guy in last year's mock draft, and I'm going to take him again in this year's mock draft. Again, he didn't actually nominate for the draft last year, but he's in a similar spot, and that's actually Kyle Filipowski, who is ranked at number 16th by ESPN. I actually believe he's a bit better than that rank, in my opinion. It's been said that he's a really good and smart player who rarely makes mistakes on the court. Great passer and can function as a playmaker for teams in spurts. The shot is really solid, and he can be rumored to be pretty efficient with his conversion to the NBA. He's a good ball handler for a big man, and he's a pretty good switchable defender as well. Of course, there are some downsides with him. He's not a really good rim protector, so although he's switchable and can maybe move to the perimeter and whatnot, he's not really made to be going out and, defending the rim excessively. He also isn't much of a presence in the paint, not only on the defense, but obviously on the scoring end as well. Some comparisons are saying he's a bit like Kelly Olynyk with a bit of Karl Anthony Towns, which is super interesting because the way I look at Filipowski, again, he's averaging 16.5 points per game and 8.5 rebounds. The reason a lot of people probably don't have him as better is because he's one of those weird players where it's hard to say what his position is in the NBA. Is he a center or is he a power forward? When realistically, he's kind of that weird mixture of both. He's like that secret position that just doesn't exist in the NBA. Again, that 4.5 position that just doesn't exist, right? A lot of players have been like that. Karl Anthony Towns, for a long time, was just not a good enough rim protector to really be a good defensive center. But then he was just so offensively good, and he could shoot the 3 as well to play the power forward. But then some said he was too slow to be a power forward. All these type of things. Kevin Love, in his ladder of career, is kind of in that as well. There's definitely a ton of other players here and there too, which just don't fit the power forward, and they don't fit the center. They kind of fit in the middle. And I think Filipowski is really like that. But on this Oklahoma City team, I think there's benefits to him being like that, because they're going to be bringing in some more centers, I think, this season. They're going to keep Chet Holmgren. They'll target Filipowski, I think, or a center in this draft.
and then they'll probably go out and sign another one, right? Realistic thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if they played Filipowski on some minutes with Chet Holmgren. I know they like to go a bit like more athletic, like not necessarily smaller, that's the wrong word. They like to have an athletic guy usually at that power forward position. But honestly, maybe this is a good thing by the Oklahoma City Thunder, by just bringing in some dude. Again, I've also heard some people say that Filipowski has like again traits of Jokic when he was coming into the league, which is also a pretty interesting thing to say. Again, comparing someone to one of the best centers we've ever seen in Nikola Jokic is always a little bit of a potential stretch. But we're not necessarily saying that he is Jokic. We're saying he's got similarities in his game like an Alperen Şengün does as well. Again, averaging 16.5 points per game, 8.5 rebounds on one of the best colleges in the world is a really, really good thing. And the fact is, this dude has the like playmaking and ball handling of a Nikola Jokic, of an Alperen Şengün. Again, and he can score. His defense is not that great. But with OKC, they've got a ton of defense. Can they afford to sacrifice some defense with that center position? I'm not necessarily too sure. But also, there's no reason not to try this. There's not too many other players that I think really fit this Oklahoma team as much as what Filipowski does in terms of looking for a big. They also like their big men to have the ball in their hands. They like OKC, like everyone on their team, to be able to play, make, and ball handle, right? Like we've seen stretches of the lineups they put out of SGA, of Josh Giddey, right, of Aaron Wiggins, etc., of these players that can all ball handle, they can all move the rock really, really well. Chet Holmgren as well, underrated. Jalen Williams. Everyone on this team can move the ball, right? Having a dude like Filipowski in there does also fit that, where they're going to bring in another guy who's not going to be afraid to move the ball, who's not going to be afraid to pass, who can also set someone up, right? So I think this is a brilliant pick by OKC. To me, it makes a lot of sense, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did go for this, and I'd actually be a little bit shocked if they didn't. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how this, of course, all does go. But of course, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. What do you guys think of my official 2024 NBA mock draft? Did you guys like it? Did you agree with all my picks, or did you not? I'd like to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. Again, subscribe to the channel for less NBA content, NBA news. Also, don't forget to go and check out my gaming channel, my IRL/vlogging channel. I don't feel like enough of you guys, I should say, even know that exists. So go check them out. They're also going to be linked in the description down below. But as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.